All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday webcast on February 8th. This is pre-recorded, and today I am, Tracy, going to be going over how you can edit a course in Cal State S4. Now, a few things before I get started that I want to point out about courses and what you can and cannot edit when it comes to a course. So let's take a quick look at the slide here. The big caveat in the yellow is the most important thing to consider. Keep in mind that your courses in Cal State S4 come in through your nightly import of your student information system. So some of the information, even if you change it manually, will be overridden nightly because your student information system overrides not any manual changes you make, but some manual changes you make. However, there are some changes and edits that you can make or may need to make, and I want to go over those. So there are 5 that I have identified here in this list. You may wish to manually add a student. This is a case that occurs if you are wanting to add a test student to a class, for example. And there are some cases where you may be able to add a real student to a class if they have not for some reason already been added through your student information system. You also may wish to delete a test student from a course. I'll go over that. Again, you may also delete a real student, but keep in mind that if that student is enrolled via your student information system, even if you manually delete them, they will show up the next day because this system will put them back into the course. So keep that in mind. However, there are some cases where you may wish to delete a student. A third thing you might want to do in a course is to add a second faculty, and that will not be overridden. You cannot delete the faculty of record. That will come back through your student information system. However, if there is a second faculty identified or that you want to have access to the course, you can do that. Fourth, you may just wish to assist faculty in helping to limit their program sites, and there's some ways that you can do that through editing the course. And then finally, if you have a test course and you're managing that, there are some things you can do. Okay, so let's go over some of those. I am here in Hetch Hetchy, and I am looking at my course list. As you probably have figured out by now, the term is by default any term that are in the current date range. So right now I have a term of spring 2017 showing. If you wanted to look at a previous term, you of course can bring those up as well using your filters. So let's say I want to add, for example, a test student to a course so that I can show the class how to sign up. So first thing you would do is you find and click on the course that you want to edit. I am looking at Biology 100. And here are the currently enrolled students, and here's all the information. If you want to edit a course, the first thing you're going to do is click the Edit button. And you'll see all of this course information. Now keep in mind, with great power comes great responsibility. You do not want to delete this entire course. That would be bad. However, what you do see is a list of the students that are in the course. And let's say you want to add another one. Now keep in mind, as you're looking at this list, what comes in is actually the ID of the student or the username of the student, which in many cases for your campuses is either their campus unique ID or their 9-digit EMPL ID. So you might not initially be able to recognize who a particular student is. In that case, you will need to know their ID number or their campus ID by getting it from their user information in the user tab. However, if you're just adding a new student, what you can do is begin to, on the list of students that are in the course, you can simply add a new student. So let's say it's a test student that you wish to add. You need to begin typing the name, either the actual name or the ID, the username of the student that you're adding. In this case, I'm going to add Sally student and her ID, or actually I'll add my third test student. So I start typing student. Hetch 3. Now what you'll see happen is a list will come up that will autofill based on what you're starting to type. You will need to find the one in the list and click on it, because what that does is that brings up a number right here, and that number is important to the system. So you have to have that number added in order to add the student, because you have to make sure that the student actually has an account. Once that's been added, then you can save the course. And you'll see that now student 3 exists in the list. I don't know which one that is, but student 3 is now in the course. Now that will not be overridden by your student information system, because as long as you have manually added the test student, there's no problem there. So that's how you would manually add a student to a course. In the same way, if you needed to delete a student from a course, like let's say, for example, you wanted to delete a test student like Sally student here, you would go back in again, same thing, you would edit. You need to know which one Sally student is, and in this case I know that her ID, her username is student Hetch, and you simply take her out, delete that information, and then go back down and save. Now, this is fine for, and so you can see Sally student is gone. This is fine for deleting test students. If, however, a student is enrolled in a course via your student information system, even if you manually delete, they will show up the next day if they are enrolled in the course. However, we have found times when a student has unenrolled and yet they are still being listed. So you can manually delete students who have unenrolled but for some reason are not being brought out of S4. So that would be a scenario when you would want to perhaps delete a real student. But do that with caution, please, as a last resort. Really, we would prefer to have the student information system working according to plan. Okay, so that's manually adding and deleting a student. Next, adding a second faculty. Same thing within the course. You can see that the faculty of record is listed. However, if there is a second faculty, let's say it's a lab assistant or something like that, you can go in and you can edit, and then you can see here over faculties on the right hand side, you can add a second user who is a faculty of the course. Now keep in mind that user has to have an account in S4, so that is something to keep in mind, and if you need more information about that, you can call me. But let's say we are adding a second faculty. You do the same thing. You start to write out their username, faculty Hetch, and you'll see a list pop up, and you will then select so that that number shows up, and then go ahead and save the course. And then you'll notice over here that now a second faculty is in the list. When you look at the course list, you will only see the first faculty listed. You will not see that second faculty. However, you can go directly to that course and you can see that the second faculty has been added there. Okay, so that is adding a faculty to the course. Assist faculty in limiting program sites. In this case, your faculty have the ability to add or take off program sites and to limit the list that the students see of program sites available to them. However, if your faculty need help with that, there are two ways you can go about doing that. One is through this select and deselect program sites in the upper right hand corner. Now this is the way that faculty do this action. They go in, they select, and then that's how they get their program list. You can do it a slightly faster way. If you're helping out as a staff, and that is also by going into the edit, and if you have a list of program sites that you know they're wanting to add to their course, then instead of manually adding each one, you can also go into the program sites list here, which is above the student list, and you can simply start typing in a particular site. I'm trying to remember one. I can only remember American Cancer Society. There's some farm, I think. You can just start typing, and there it is, Adam's Apple Farm. And then again, select, make sure that the number is there, and then save the whole thing. So that is another, if you have a long list and you simply just want to add them like that, that is another option to you, and that is also in the Edit tab of the course. That does not get overridden by your student information system because it is in no way related to your student information system. All right, the final one is managing a test course. And in this case, if you have a test course instead of a course that's coming in through your student information system, you may wish to do a few things with that test course. So for example, here in spring 2017, I have test, which is a test course. I can go in and I can make all kinds of edits to my test course. I can add students, remove students. One thing that you might want to do is maybe change the name. You want to give it a specific name, such as that might be more appropriate, service learning in hospitals. I don't know what anyway, whatever. You can change, you can give your own name to your test course. Now, obviously, again, if it were a real course, you can't change the title because it will be overridden because it's in your student information system. The other thing you can do with your test course, in addition to what I had shown you with adding students or adding program sites, is if you want to change the term so that the test course is in a previous term or in a current term or even in a future term, you can manually change the term over here on the right hand side by pulling down the terms that are available to you in your instance of S4, and you can change the term. So if you don't want the term to be showing up in the current term anymore, for example, you can put it in a previous term, and then it'll still exist, but it'll be in a previous term. If you want to change the program of the term, and instead of demonstrating with service learning, you want to demonstrate an academic internship, you can change the program in your course. So those are the other things you may want to do within a course. Also, if you, by default, each course has a maximum placement of 1. You may want to up that if you have multiple placements in a single course, and that's true in your test course or otherwise. And then you can also activate or inactivate the course as well. So if you don't want it to show up, you can actually inactivate this course completely. I won't do that now, but I will hit save, and you'll see that now if I go back to, I've updated it, now it's in a different term, now it's a different program, and the name has changed. So all of those changes stick, and then you go back to your courses, and it's no longer in the current course list. All right, those are some of the different things you can do to edit a course in Cal State S4. If you have more questions, of course, I will be adding information in our help documents about how to edit a course. And if you have any questions, as always, support@calstatesf4.com. Have a great day.